Do you guys ever overthink anything at all? I mean, I feel like I do. You know, it took me 17 times of recording this before I could actually speak coherently enough for anyone to understand me. I'm having trouble figuring out what to keep in the Let's Play series and what to leave out. You know, it's easier. Get this trash off of me. It's easier figuring out what I'm doing with the psychological look closer videos. You know, with those videos, I script it out. I figure out what I'm keeping, what I'm not. I, make the worlds in creative mode and perfectly plan everything out. With this, it's like I'm playing the game and talking to you. And I don't want to say something wrong. But this is a spider spawner that's underneath our village right across from our starter house. Pretty simple design. I think it's an Omango design, but I think they're all spider spawners, you know, are all kind of the same. You know, they go up the little bubble vader, come over here, and I slap their little ankles, take all their bones. But as you can see, I've been doing a lot of digging and... Oh shoot, what a perfect day to record a video. This is perfect! I'm still figuring out how to record these videos, of course. I feel like I'm just going to try to keep making each video better than the last one. I think that's my only real goal right now. So for today, this skeleton spawner is, like I said, underneath this village and such over here. But I'm going to create an entrance to it, but I'm going to do it in the most inefficient way possible. But it's going to be with a story. I spoke in a previous video about, this little bridge kind of ruins that we made in the village here, about creating stories with our builds. You know what? I'm going to wait until it stops raining. A limerick. The thunder was sad and scary. It made me sad and dairy. So I hid in my hole till the blue sky was... The skeleton spawner is down deep inside of this cave system here. And it's just really difficult running down and through all these tiny little caverns and caves and doing parkour while I'm trying to figure out how to get to it. So instead of just simply building a ladder or a staircase down, I want to use this as an opportunity to tell more of the story that we're trying to build here. Like with this ruined bridge here and the ruins here in our village around this forest. I want to tear down this entire place. And I know we just made that video with the picture framing kind of through the trees here, which I still think that we're going to be able to do. But I really think the entire scale of this place needs to change. And ultimately, I am focusing on this view right here. This is the view from the starter base as we walk out. I want to be able to see, through the trunks of the trees. I want to be able to see the ground. And I think that there's a lot of story that we can tell here. And I want to start that story with kind of this rock formation here. I talked about how much I liked these walls that give it depth and the kind of white stone kind of embedded inside of the larger stone around it. And this rock feels really lonely right now. It feels like the only one of its kind. So I really want to build more rocks like it so that this can feel more like a custom biome sort of, and have its own story to tell, its own unique vibe. And so without further ado, let's chop down some trees. Oh, I'm so thankful for this guy. He's got exactly what I need. Yes, you. Don't get sassy. Thank you so much for the acacia. I really needed this. Let's get this planted here. Let's plant some pale oak as well. We're going to need some of that. Bye-bye. So, forest. I really want some smaller trees, like these guys. Ignore him. Some small saplings kind of feel like they're newer, fresh trees kind of growing out of the ground. And then I want some, normal size Minecraft trees that maybe have a little bit more height to them. Oh my God, those grew so quickly. Scared me a little bit. And then I will also really like some, really, really big trees. Some that kind of have a base of 4 wide that stretch really, really high into that stretch really high up into the sky. That might even be a little bit too tall, but they're going to look great. And something else that I really want to play around with here is, like I said earlier, I'm not the greatest builder, but there are a lot of simple little tricks that you can use to kind of trick the eye into making your builds look a lot better than they actually are. And one of them is, with using different types of leaves to show different shades of light, you could say. These azalea leaves are a lot brighter, and then the spruce leaves are a lot darker. And so instead of having, a tree with all one type of leaf on it, you can sort out where you would think the sunlight would hit a tree and use lighter leaves in those areas. And you can sort out where the shadows would be and use darker leaves for those areas. So let's get to doing this and see how it turns out. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I really love it. I really like the scale that we have now. I really love the composition of everything. And if you look at some of those rock outcroppings that we talked about, you can see kind of how they're scattered along throughout the hillside there. And it feels like its own separate biome. And if you look up at the tip tops of the trees now, you can sort of see what I was talking about with those lighting tricks. So at the tops of the trees and around the edges, you can see that I have the brighter leaves there. I'm going to grab some stuff out of here really quickly. Let's see, I need this axe. But yeah, the edges of the trees you can see are a little bit brighter, and underneath are a little bit darker. I really don't like this block here. I need to, a little bit too harsh of a transition. That looks a lot better. So what I want to do is, looking at all these flat open areas kind of between the trees here, more or less I want to use the same lighting trick that we talked about with the leaves, but I want to use kind of a gradient of several different blocks here to simulate sunlight hitting it. And I'm trying to think of, if you're in a forest and you see that there's a, brighter open area where more sunlight hits, that area is generally going to be more overgrown. There's a bit more sunlight hitting there. There's more things growing. And especially in big flat areas like this, there could potentially be places where I would think that water would gather, flowers would grow, that kind of thing. But I really like using this calcite for this, kind of brighter rock that's sort of weathered down, surrounded by the diorite here. And then I really like the transition, because that diorite has a little bit more gray in it, transitioning to the mossy cobble. And then around the edge, because it blends in really well with that mossy cobble, I really want to, oops, I forgot one of my blocks. The moss itself, I think, is going to blend in really, really well. And especially because we're in this biome with the more kind of blue grass, the really bright green of the moss kind of pops. And it kind of feels, at least to me, like the grass is growing really well here, and it's kind of overgrown and being hit by sunlight. And we're even going to put some flowers here. Give it some nice little pops of color here. But I really want to decorate this entire forest area here with a bunch of this stuff, with a bunch of the grass, probably top it off with some of the firefly bushes, that kind of thing. But I think this is going to look really, really nice once it's all kind of grown in and feels more natural, than just the flat kind of open areas with nothing in it but just square blocks. I really love all the natural kind of building blocks in this game. Now, I know you might be thinking, Nick, you said you built this forest so that you could build an entrance to the Skelly farm. Isn't the Skelly farm way over there on the other side of the village in a hole? Yes, you would be right. But whenever we talk about building stories in our game, this is kind of what I mean. I could have just built a stairwell down, or I can build an entire forest to incorporate these big rocks. I then use these rocks to incorporate into a kind of entrance. And see, I love this natural kind of feeling cave here, where I left some of the diorite and some of the calcite, that kind of thing, that feels like it's embedded sort of in this ancient ruin here. And if I drop down, skeleton farm. Super easy. It's right here. Slap their little ankles, and I have a bubble vader straight back up. So I've built this entire place to continue that kind of ruin aesthetic that I started in the village, and now I have a storage room as well. Sort of like I've repurposed this old place to be my own. I need to sleep. But to add to what we were talking about earlier, so our starter house is over there. And if you look from the other side, the composition feels a little bit underbalanced on that left side. And so I really, really want to add something to it. So I have decided to build another ruin, of course. But I really think that this ruin stands out from the rest a bit, not only in size, kind of scale, because it matches a little bit with the forest, but it also sort of ties what's above to what's below. I really like what we've done here, where it kind of feels like our storage room is in the foundation of this little ruined bit here. And it's not too far away from the entrance to the actual storage room over here inside of the rocks that we've made. But now we have the whole forest. We have this whole rock structure in here that feels more organic. We have a storage room that ties together with our skeleton spawner. And now we can just walk right out of our storage room and say goodbye to all of our family and friends and thank them for coming and say, see you next time.